Let's talk about relationships, behaviors, and the culture. Welcome to D-Zone. Yeah, we taking over. You might be alone or looking for love. We're live every Monday. Listen to us. Sit back and relax. Tune in and take a listen. Funny to the max. D-Zone's what you missing. There's no judgment here. We get deep in the zone. Open conversations go on and on. We too hype on the mic and stay true to ourselves. Just like an open book, we tell how we feel. This right here is for the sexy and grown. Turn the volume up, cause it's the D-Zone.
Yeah. What it do? It's your girl D-Nice. It's your girl D-Nice right here. And you are now locked into the D-Zone, baby. What's up, y'all? It's April 17th, 2023. It's about to be crazy today because lately people have been coming to me asking me like, yo, Nice, are you going to ever talk about mental health? Are you ever going to tap into mental health? But before I get into that and into my guest, I need to make sure you guys follow this podcast page on the Instagram at the D-Zone Podcast. Also, please go like, comment, subscribe on YouTube at the D-Zone Podcast. The more you interact with me, the more content I can put out for you all, okay? Also, we want you guys to interact with us tonight by calling in 443-961-2247. We are taking your questions and comments live, okay? Live. So make sure you call us up so we can interact. All right. Like I said before, today's show is all about mental health. We're talking everything mental. So I had to go find my new friend. Now she about to be my best friend. We was talking offline. She has some gems. I need everybody to help me welcome Miss Tiarra Abubakar.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello,
I'm so
Tiarra.
excited to be here.
I'm so excited. Like, I mean, you had me hyped in the car. Okay, we was out in the
We were
park.
just talking life.
Just talking life, and it was great.
Yeah.
First of all, Tiarra, people don't know who you are. Let's let them know. Who is Tiarra?
Absolutely. My name is Tiarra Abubakar. I am a holistic clinical mental health therapist. I am the owner of True Self Holistic Therapy, a private practice in Maryland. I am also the bougie herbalist. I'm practicing herbalism as a way of living.
Okay.
And you can find me across all of my platforms at Tiarra Abubakar.
Okay. So when you say you are, so what type of services? Like, so
I provide mental health services,
Yeah.
individual therapy,
Okay.
family therapy,
Okay.
And relationship therapy.
Word.
So I implement a holistic framework.
Okay.
I take individuals on a journey of self-discovery, so helping them unpack their childhood trauma. We do inner child work, shadow work.
signing up today.
Help them figure out who they want to become, and I help them create a strategy for how they want to live their lives, because so many of us are just who people told us we were. And so I help people intentionally figure out how they want to live their lives and implement.
That is dope.
Yeah.
That is dope. I actually was on your page and actually saw you. Was that your retreat?
It was a treat that I did in collaboration with my mentor, who is a medicine woman, a shaman.
Nice.
And another one of her students. It was when I say life-changing, it was life-changing.
It looked like it. I mean,
It was life-changing.
I don't think people understand, like, but I feel your energy is so bomb and it's so like, it's strong, but it's like, it's really good. It's really good. I mean, she got
So
me
is
hyped.
yours.
No, thank you. No, you got me hyped. Like, I'm so excited about this conversation because in the Black community, mental health, I feel like is number one, like one of our main issues.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think mental health in our community is so high?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Yeah. One, I want to say I'm so happy that as a community, we are starting to talk about it. And people are becoming a lot more open. Like, you hear people openly saying, you know, my therapist said this, so my therapist told me that. And I think that is amazing because our parents grew up in a time where it's like, what happened in your house stays in your house, and you better not tell anybody your business. But I think that it's so layered. It goes back to our history, you know, slavery, our trauma, everything that we were exposed to, and the demands that have been placed on us as Black women and as Black men, right? So it's just very layered. But I am so happy to see people doing their work.
Absolutely. So when you say doing their work, people may not know what that means. So can you explain what doing the work means?
Yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of therapists say doing the work and people don't know what that means.
Right.
But doing the work is taking an assessment of yourself in your life and owning what you have created. So owning your mess, owning your lack of boundaries, owning your people-pleasing tendencies, owning like how your trauma impacted you, and not just stuffing it down and moving through life, but being able to be vulnerable and to say, no, you hurt my feelings, and not ghosting people and cutting people off without telling them why. Not just saying we ain't friends no more and they know what they did. No,
Facts.
y'all don't have to be friends no more, but had a conversation.
That's a little bit of toxicity, huh?
A little bit.
Just to block them. I mean, because sometimes though, right? We go in life, like, I can only speak for me. I can't speak for nobody else. I know for me, I get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I get overwhelmed with so much. I mean, you know, you got this, and then you got life, right? And then for me, I cut the outside off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how else. I feel like I don't, no one deserves like me to explain why I'm cutting you off. It's for me. It's not for nobody else. Is that like bad? Is that like a, you know, like a toxic cutoff?
So here's the thing. I really don't even like to say toxic.
Okay.
And I don't like to say good or bad. But when I hear you say that, that's how you've learned to cope. Is there another way for you to do that? Absolutely. Right? Because sometimes cutting people off and blocking them and not giving them an explanation is a way for you to not do the work. Because when we do that, you still sitting feeling what you felt. You know, just because you block somebody, it don't mean them feelings go away.
That's true.
It don't mean you don't think about them.
That's true.
You still sit in the residue of it. And so sometimes confronting and having that conversation and saying, you know, I love you, I care about you, but I don't feel like this relationship is healthy for me anymore. So, you know, let's part ways. That alleviates the residue.
That is true. You're not leaving no stinkiness behind.
Exactly.
Closing the door. And that's actually one of my things though, when I'm in a relationship. Now, I'm not talking about friendships. I'm talking about relationships. For me, relationships, I make sure doors are closed before I go to another one. But I seem to still attract people whose doors are still open. What is that? Yeah, well, we about to take this to me. I'm about to. So what does that do? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, so is that something inside that I need to go look in the mirror? Or,
what you mean, people whose doors are still open?
Okay, so like for me, when I go into a situation, right, you don't have to worry about my past knocking at the door saying, hey, hello, I'm still here. Like, but you may encounter relationships when you get into one that, you know, hey, somebody is still lurking around, and I always know, I mean, it's either the person you're dealing with is leading them on or they just don't get it. But like, I seem to attract women who do not close doors. Like, I gotta kind of help them do the work.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
Yeah.
Is that something inside of me? Because I feel like all my doors is closed.
I mean, I think that if we're being real, a lot of people, that's a practice for a lot of people, because people have a hard time confronting and people have a hard time letting go. And so it's the whole bunch of people that have a trail of exes that they still talk to or that they leave room for, because people don't know what healthy boundaries look like.
And what does healthy boundaries, just give us three examples of what a healthy boundary look like.
So many different healthy boundaries. I mean, it's so many different. Boundary work is deep, you know? So there's so many different ways that we can set boundaries and honor them. But if I had to choose three, I would say, you know, stop saying yes when you want to say no, which we do all the time. Stop holding space for people when you don't have the capacity for yourself. Like, if you're burnt out and exhausted, why are you sitting on the phone all day taking in other people's trauma, trying to solve their problems? Like, a boundary is shut that down and work on healing your pieces.
Yeah.
And another one, there's so many boundaries.
It is.
Don't ghost people and have
Hey,
conversations.
she gonna keep saying, don't ghost people nice. Just don't do it. All right, I won't.
Have conversations. No, that's a good boundary. I have a lot of clients in therapy that are being traumatized by being ghosted.
Really? My name don't come up, but I'm just saying.
And you might be one of the people.
No. Stop playing. No, it ain't me. But I'm just saying. So, you know what, though? I don't think about nobody else.
Yeah.
That's a selfish act, right?
But a lot of people have abandonment issues. And so when you don't have the conversation, that's triggering.
That is triggering. I ain't gonna hold you because I hate it when it's done to me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I hate it when someone don't talk to me for whatever period of time.
Or even just not knowing.
Or just not knowing.
If somebody could just say, you did this and it hurt my feelings and I need some time to process and we can come back together.
That's
We
good.
just be like, you know what you did.
Facts.
But I don't.
But I don't. Right. So communication, you would say, in relationships, any type of relationships is key.
All relationships. We have to assess, like, why did your value system look different in your romantic relationships than it looks in your friendship? Relationship is relationship.
Damn, this is good. I don't know about y'all. This shit is good. Okay. Dang. I just want, let's go off the cameras and just, all right. So, okay. Why, what does it look like if I can't get support? Like, for instance, we were talking offline and how I was seeking therapy, but these people that, you know, that I was being introduced to, they weren't giving me what I wanted, or it was hard, or let's just say insurance don't cover it, or let's just say, you know, we don't have the resources to reach out to a therapist to help us. Like, what do we do as a culture? Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would say do your research because there are so many. So this is a very real thing, you know, that insurance is not the greatest and doesn't cover mental health costs, or that insurance deductibles are extremely high and people can't afford them. And the fact that it is just really hard to find a good therapist. My phone rings off the hook all day, every day, because people can't find a therapist. So I would say keep doing your research and don't give up. You know, be as relentless about finding a therapist as you are about your medical practitioner. I'll hear a lot of people say, well, I tried therapy before and it didn't work. The therapist was bad and I'm never going again. But it's like, okay, well, would you do that with your OBGYN?
Oh,
Because you had a bad experience, you never going back again? Like,
Facts.
you keep trying.
facts.
But there are a lot of agencies and programs, like seek state insurance if you can, or do your research and find programs that offer free therapy. You know, there are therapy students they need to get clinical hours and they'll do therapy for free. So do your research in your city to see what free resources are available for you, but don't give up. Like, if you are committed to healing yourself and being well, be relentless with your search.
Absolutely. So you, I see a big ring on your finger. So you're married. Being a mental health coach, how do you balance? You know, you just said your phone rings off the hook. Like, do you have any kids? I don't know.
Yeah.
You have children. You're married. Like, what in the, how do you balance as the person, right? You are the one that we come and we all, we dump. We don't pour, we dump.
Yeah.
How do you know, stay focused, like balanced?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot.
Listen, so let me say this. My life is hectic.
Okay.
I am a business owner. My husband is a business owner, and we also own a restaurant.
Okay.
And we have 4 children. And my children are actively engaged in after school activities and everything. And so life gets hectic. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie about that. And balance is not always a thing, right? You can't always find balance, but I have committed to honoring and taking care of myself. And so I have a regimen, you know, and it might look different some days. Some days I'm heavy in prayer and meditation, and every day I'm in the gym and I'm intentional about what I eat and how I take care of my body and my support. You know, I have a tribe. I have a community of women that I could just be like, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Or I don't even have to say that. They reach out and they like, I see you.
Yeah.
You're doing amazing. Keep
Yeah.
going. And so I have created a ritual around myself that helps me come back to my center on the days and the weeks when it's crazy as hell. And then my husband is so supportive.
Yeah,
you know, that's my safe space.
Shout out to your husband. I see Jeremiah.
Oh,
Is that his name? Jeremiah?
Jeremiah.
Yeah. He said she is amazing with all. It's not easy, but she gets it done. Yo, kudos to you.
Yeah.
First of all, kudos to your husband because he's tapping in. Yo, shout out to you. That's what it is, yo. That's what it is. Support. I mean, clearly you see it. The support is here. It's definitely here. So recently, I saw that you actually dropped a book.
I did.
I saw that.
I did.
So talk about it.
Yes. First of all, I'm so excited about this book. It is called Focus on Yourself.
Okay.
It's a holistic guide for inner healing and self-discovery. And it is exactly about what I was just saying, taking all of your trauma and all the things that try to break you down and creating ammunition out of those things, and then creating your life in a way where wellness is at the forefront. So the framework of the book is the 9 pillars of wellness.
Okay.
And each chapter is broken down to go into one of the pillars. So you have your emotional, financial, your social, your environmental, your intellectual, your sexual wellness. I'm always missing one. But it breaks down your life, your physical wellness. It breaks down your life in these pillars, and you go through. Each chapter has an activity for you to do to assess where you are in your life with that particular pillar. And then it helps you create a regimen around, like, how are you going to level up? How are you going to start making yourself the focus and making sure that you're well and healthy? And then it gives, it's an awesome toolkit for holistic wellness. So it goes into Reiki and meditation and juicing, just teaching you all the ways to really live a holistic lifestyle.
And when you say holistic, we're talking about natural, like natural remedies. Nothing is being medicated from a doctor, like Western medicine. That's just
right.
Okay.
No, I don't have any Western medicine suggestions in there. I do have one of the tools is plant medicine, which is something that I use actively, but no, it's holistic. What can you do for yourself? How do you put your pieces back together? You know?
Yeah, like how do you put your pieces back together? Lord have mercy.
Living life from the inside out.
Man, like that's mental health, man. Like when I say I see it every day, like I see it more because I moved to Baltimore.
Yeah.
In Virginia, when I grew up in Virginia, like you had to go in someone's house to see it, right? In Baltimore, it's you look at somebody, you know they are suffering from something, whether it's a disability or 9 times out of 10 it's mental health.
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand why there isn't more support for our community out here.
Yeah.
Because we need it, because we've been so suppressed, because of the traumas from our childhood, right? Like you said, our parents sweeping things under the rug. I just don't understand why they don't put these in schools and put these where they need to be, especially in schools, right?
Yeah.
People kids are getting shot in schools. Yeah. They are probably you know what I mean? It's just messed up. And yeah, it's just messed up. And mental health, again, I'm affected by it. I feel like we're all affected by it. You know what I'm saying? Relationships, definitely. And, traumas, all of that. You talk about the importance of cleaning up your childhood. How do you do that when you're 40 or 50, right? Because I feel like this is just me. If you're 50, 60, are you stuck in your ways and you don't want to change? How do you deal with a client or a patient that way where they're probably their mindset is just this way and not that way? How do you even give them to shift their perception of anything?
Yeah. I'll say this, when I have people that come looking for me, when they come looking for therapy, I think that is a sign that they're ready to change.
Okay.
They're ready to do something. And at that age, yeah, it's probably a lot harder because you've been living the way that you've been living for so long. But if you're reaching out, then that means that you are aware enough to know that you need to change something. And so I just hold space for them, because the thing about trauma is that when we experience it, we get stuck in that age. So even if you are 50 now, but you experience sexual assault at 10, your emotional maturity most times is stuck at age 10. And so that 10-year-old little girl is showing up in your life. And so I go back with them. I don't care if you're 60. We going back to when you were 10 and sitting in that. And healing that part of you and holding space for that part of you, because for so many of us, when we experience trauma, nobody held space for us to put our pieces back together. And so it manifests into bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, and really it's unresolved trauma.
That was one of my questions. We got a caller right here. Hold up. You are now on with the D Zone. Who do we have on the line?
This is Marsha Woodland, Miss Abu Bakr's sister-in-law.
Hey, Marsha.
Hey, sister-in-law. How are you? Thank you for calling the D Zone.
I'm doing wonderful.
So we got a little delay. If you could turn your TV down just a little bit. So what comments do you have for tonight's show topic?
Well, I wanted to respond to that. I wanted to respond to your question about a person being stuck in their ways and how do you get them to change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 55, and it takes someone like...
We can't really hear you. We can't really hear you.
I said I'm 55,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes someone like Tiarra.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why. And it takes someone like Tiarra. I'm not sure why. And mental health providers, when they make it okay for you to be as effed up as you are, mental health providers, when they make it okay for you to be as effed up as you are, without judgment,
it's the delay. If you could just keep talking. Just keep talking. Don't worry about your TV. Just keep talking.
and when they make it safe for you to unpack your suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't have a TV on, so
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're hearing.
Okay. Y'all hear that?
I can hear it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But just keep talking
Right.
through
Yeah,
it.
just keep talking.
Yeah. You have to have a safe space to unpack those things that baffle you.
Yeah. That
You
definitely.
have to have a safe space to unpack.
That definitely I think is important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You I think that's important. I mean, I was just talking about this in my relationship. If you were in a relationship and previously your partner didn't allow you to, I always say they take away your throat chakra. Like they take it away to the point where they silence you or they overtalk you. I feel like it's important for your partners to have that space, right? And people don't understand when that's a lot though. That's a lot because you about to get all the truths. You about to get how they really feel, and you got to have the capacity to even accept that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you calling. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Already.
Thank you, Tiarra.
Thank you, Ma.
All right, that's what's up. Yeah, it's like I think it's, and again, relationships, right? Communication, like I feel like relationships, you have to have the capacity. Like you have to, like for me, I'm ready now. Like I took 3 years off, but I'm ready now. Like, right. So now I feel like I attracted who I attracted, but like, it's not easy. It's work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, I'm thinking that I'm good. I am A1. Like I got all my shit together. But then this past weekend, I recognized that like I don't.
Yeah.
Just by doing a communication activity with my partner, like that right there was everything, because I didn't see myself how she saw me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so like that is a good thing too. When you're in relationships, do little couple games or whatever to help that communication barrier.
Yeah.
Because it helps.
Yeah. I mean, relationships are a mirror for us. It's really how we see ourselves, right? Like as individuals, we all have so many blind spots, but we have to be open to allowing the people that love us, the people that are safe spaces for us, allowing them to reflect all the parts of us, right?
Yeah.
And so even I'll challenge you to do that even in your friendships, right? Like, allow your friends to tell you about you. Allow your friends to tell you how they're experiencing you and how they see you. Because creating that safety in all of your relationships is only going to allow all of you to become the best versions of yourself.
You was talking about earlier, you were talking about how you would have to basically, like, if someone was like 60, you would meet them in like their 10-year-old.
Yeah.
That's kind of is that the same concept for like people who get incarcerated? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, because I be thinking, like, when you get, if you're in jail at 17 and you don't get out until you're 57, your mindset is jail. Your mindset is nothing outside. So, like, do you believe that life has stopped when they got in jail?
I don't think it starts, but I think that you get stunted emotionally at that place because you're not being nurtured or taken care of the way that you need to be as a person. You know, I worked in a correctional facility, in the way that people are treated, in the way that, you know, life is run in there. It's not conducive for wellness for anybody. It's not really a place for rehabilitation. Ain't nobody checking for you or holding space for your emotions or anything. In fact, it's the opposite. Like, you better man up and take care of yourself. So, but I think that the same is to be said for trauma, right? Like, it doesn't matter how old you are when you experience trauma. If nobody pauses and says, you went through this very traumatic thing, let's unpack it. Let's process it so that it doesn't change your identity, or so that it doesn't change your world. You kind of become trapped inside of yourself. We talked about the fear and the anxiety after you've been hurt. And so now you living your life like afraid and trying to make sure, like, you put in gates and walls and safeguards around yourself to make sure that you never have that experience again. It's the same as being incarcerated.
Man, when I tell you, we talked about insecurities.
Yeah.
Insecurities is okay.
We all have insecurities.
Man, can we elaborate on that? Because people think that insecurities is like a bad thing. Like, yo, you are insecure, da, da, da. You know, a lot of people say that when they're angry and they're in relationships. Talk about insecurities, because my audience really need to enlighten. They need to be enlightened, yeah.
I mean, if we're being honest, we all have insecurity.
Absolutely.
Whether it's an emotional insecurity or a physical insecurity. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship with anybody if I can't be vulnerable about my insecurity. And the last thing you get to do is throw it in my face and use it against me. But also, I have to be okay with saying, hey, like, I feel insecure about this, or this is how I saw this, or I witnessed this, and it's bringing up some insecurities for me. Like, can we process and talk about it?
Yeah.
Don't use it against me.
Right.
It's not, you know, for you to have target practice with me. But if we want vulnerability and transparency in our relationships, then understand that we all have insecurities.
And that is okay, especially in a relationship. In all relationships. Like, if you didn't have a relationship with your mother, but coming to your mother and saying, hey, this is what I felt. Because what I recognize is that growing up is that my mom didn't know.
Yeah.
She didn't see things that I saw. My mom didn't go through the things that I went through because she was going through her own thing, right? So now when you get older, you know, some people may even have, what do you call it? Like a frustration against their parent, right? And their parent don't even know why they mad. They don't even know why. Well, they do, but they don't know why, right? They just know they just seen something, or they felt abandoned or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So do you think it's important, or how would you know when it's okay to go to someone like your mom or a parent or someone who raised you and say, hey, listen, I'm being vulnerable. This is what it is. And this is like, do you say like, yo, you messed up my life, but I can't really move on now because of this. Like, is it their job to do that, or is it the person's job to be like, okay, wait, I haven't seen you in a minute. Let me see what's going on. Like, how does that work?
Yeah. I would say relationships and people in general are so complex. It's so many levels, right? And we have to keep remembering that this is a journey. And so just because you have committed to healing your pieces, it doesn't mean that your parents are in that space also. But sometimes a part of our journey is being able to go and have those very hard conversations. And it's a process. You know, with my clients, I start them with, like, let's unpack and process what's really at the root of it. What are you feeling? What hurt you? How do we put it into words? And we take weeks and we do exercises and we really comb through what it is that you need to communicate. Because sometimes it's the way that we serve it to them, right? Like, now I'm bringing this to you to hurt you. And that's not the goal. Sometimes we just need to have the conversation to express so that we can free ourselves. But there is an appropriate way to have it. And sometimes we just know that our parents are not in the space to receive it. They're not ready, right? And so we have to respect where other people are also. I invite my clients to bring in whoever it is they need to have a hard conversation with so that they can have a third party so that they can actually hear from each other. But it's a process, and it's not a quick fix. It's not always one conversation. But I just encourage people to be gentle with themselves and their loved ones. Because like you said, your mom had her stuff going on too.
Facts. She was like, as long as my daughter eating, she got a roof over her head, she got clothes on her back, she's fine. But and I think that's the norm, right? Our parents, I'm not a mother. I have a dog and whatever. But like, as a parent, like, I don't even know, like, how do you even like know that your child is even experiencing some type of anything? You know what I mean? Because you might be too young. Because I know growing up in an urban family, you couldn't say nothing. You was too grown. You're talking smart. You know, that chakra is now taken away. So now you can't even express yourself. I remember when I was 21 is when I really started expressing myself. And it took one of my girlfriends to be like, hey, yo, say something. Like, you gotta stand up. And I was like, no. I was so like, just no, I'm not, because I don't want to get in trouble. But then when I recognized that when I spoke, now I ain't gonna say it was the right way, but when I finally spoke, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna get in trouble. And then I recognized, okay, it's a way.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, yo, you this. You gotta be like, okay, can I talk to you for a minute? Let's sit down. Like, that's like, so I had to learn that. It's definitely a learning process.
Yeah, I always say it's like a pendulum. You go from losing your voice and not saying anything, and then you swing all the way to the other side of like, oh, I have power. I can say whatever I want, and I'm calling everything out. And then eventually you come to the middle. And you find your balance. And then you realize, like, I don't even have to say anything about that. I acknowledge within myself what I feel. Or you figure out what is the appropriate way to talk about it.
Absolutely. Let's go to the comments real quick. Phil Roy said, relationships require work. Let's see. Relationships require work that most people, move your cursor, most people are not willing to put in. And that is why most of our relationships don't work or last long. 33 years of marriage, and I praise God for that. Wow. 33, shout out to, that's my family right there. Shout out to Phil Roy. 33, they just celebrated. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. Like, it is not. Like, I literally just went through this weekend. It is not easy. And again, I just think that you have to have the capacity. You have to love the person enough to be like, yo, I'm willing to strip all these layers back and show you who I really am, because that's what's important, right? Like, if that's what you really want, like, that's what I really want. So I make it a point. I set boundaries in my situations, all of them, right? I'd be like, look, after a certain time you can't call because this is my time for this like things like, you know what I mean? You just have to, in order for you to live like a peaceful life. You have to. Yeah. Man, this is crazy. This is great. Listen, I need y'all to call us up 443-961-2247. Let us know. Comment on the chat as well. Let us know what you think about mental health, because right now, mental health is the biggest thing in our community. Like, we suffer from it bad. And I know I can't save everybody, but we know you can't save everybody, but you do your due diligence. And what made you want to be a mental health therapist? Like, what made you want to do this?
Yeah.
That's a lot to take on.
It is a lot, but I definitely believe that it's my purpose and like I was called to it. So prior to being a therapist, I was a domestic violence advocate for about 8 years. And I started to feel myself getting burnt out because I was seeing the same women over and over and over again. And, you know, they would leave one relationship and go to the next and end up in the same situation. And I started to realize that we were just putting a Band-Aid and not really getting to the root of what was going on. Why were they attracting these type of partners? Why were they allowing it? What was going on? And so I decided that I wanted to be a therapist so that I could go deeper in the work and really see people transform their lives.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Because we need you. I need you. You already know that. I told you outside. I'm signing up.
We all need a good therapist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That your retreat, I've seen something look like that before, like on TikTok, right? I don't know if these are the same people, but you guys look similar.
It probably was because my shaman is TikTok famous.
Okay, so maybe so because she be in the room and people be screaming and crying.
Yeah,
That is a part of that healing.
Yeah, and it's a plant medicine journey.
A plant medicine journey. And how can someone? Because I was actually intrigued by that. Like it's something that I would love to do. How could someone like myself sign up for something like that or get involved with something like that?
Yeah. So there are a lot of different shamans and organizations and people that do plant medicine. I know psilocybin right now is something that is really up and coming. So mushrooms. And I know a lot of people do microdosing and mushroom journeys. My recommendation is always to do it in a safe setting, not recreational.
So wait, you're talking about mushrooms? The mushroom?
Yeah,
like
mushroom.
the mushroom drug. Like, well,
it's a plant medicine.
We're not gonna say drug. We're gonna say plant medicine.
Yeah.
Well, in society they call it a drug.
Right.
But it's a plant medicine. So it's not. So
you can use it in a clinical setting. It's used to really help you go in and to unravel your trauma and to hear from yourself. So in the journeys that, like this weekend, we didn't do mushrooms. We did a medicine called Sananga and a medicine called Hepe, which is an eye drop, and one is like a tobacco medicine that goes up your nose. But those medicines help to remove stuck energy, anger, trauma, things that are like resting in your body, because trauma, it literally breaks up into fragments and it lives in your body. And those fragments manifest into ailments in our body, physical illnesses. Like that's how deep trauma is. And that was like learning that and realizing the severity of it is really what brought me into holistic therapy, because talking isn't always enough. Sometimes we can only talk as far as like our mind will allow us to go, which is why I really trust and I believe in plant medicines. Like those medicines were here before we existed, being used for healing. You know, indigenous people, it's still a consistent part of their practice. And it's a part of my wellness journey as well. So when I have clients that are interested in moving into that phase of their healing journey, I only refer them to one person because I trust her. I know her work is good and it's safe. And so I, of course, would love to share that information, but I heavily is one of the tools that I have in the book. Okay. But using that to really heal yourself and to move the trauma out of your body.
See, I never knew that. I never knew that trauma lives. I mean, I understood that, you know, stress and things like that causes certain things, right, to erupt in your body. But what you just said was wow. Yeah. So, like, again, I asked myself, am I really healed? Yeah. You ask yourself that. Like, are you really healed? You say you do the work. And then you also said something vital, like, you know, you don't really know if you are really healed unless you're in a relationship. Yeah. And that was deep, too. And I'm just like, yo. So, dang. I mean, we go out here, we thinking we good, and the whole time we get triggered and it's another story. Yeah. That's deep. I didn't even know if it was plants out here that can remove all of, you know what I mean? Yeah. You hear mushrooms, don't you do that. That's the hippie, you know what I mean? Like, right. And it's actually something that it allows us to just in my
sit in it, process it, release it. Yeah. And that's why I'm really committed to this, because there are so many things that we don't know, like so many things that we're not open to and that have been stigmatized, and we really just need to be educated on it.
Is there any, like, can you even prevent mental health? Like,
I mean, mental health, we all have mental health. I
Right.
think you mean mental illness. Can you prevent mental illness?
sure.
I think it depends. For some people, it really is a chemical imbalance that you just need to be medicated for.
Okay.
Or, you know, that you need a deeper layer of support to manage it.
Mental health, mental illness, too different.
Mental health is your health, your wellness. Like when we say physical health,
Got
but,
you.
but if we say a sickness,
Got you.
it's a illness
Got you.
or ailment. And so we all have mental health. We should be checking in about what is the state of my mental health, right?
Understood.
And we all have a degree of something, right? So whether it is anxiety or struggling with trust or boundaries, like all of those things tie into your mental health. But mental illness is what we see as like severe depression or anxiety disorder, where it is starting to impair your daily functioning.
So that's how you would know.
Right.
When you start. But some people don't even know, though, because they just function in it. They just move in it. We're not going to say toxic, but they just move in it. You know, they don't even know. It takes somebody to point them out. But how do you know? Like, if you going through it, like, you know what I mean? What are the signs of you like, yo, I need to go speak to somebody? Like, what are the signs of those?
Yeah. That's really hard to say because I think, like you said, for some of us, the norm is the norm. Like, I didn't realize probably until about 2 years ago that I was moving through anxiety. You know, like I was so used to being an overthinker and replaying situations.
Man, what?
And processing, oh, this person said this and they looked at me like this, and doing like just staying on a loop in my mind. And it really was making me so anxious, and the anxiety was just like living in my body. But I didn't know because that was my norm. I had been living like that since a little girl, just overthinking, right? And so on a plant medicine journey, I realized like, oh, that's really you are really anxious. I had just learned how to live with it. And we do the same thing with depression. Like we see people that have very high functioning anxiety. They can get up every day, go to work, take care of their kids, and then they crash. And then they lay in their bed and they're crying and they're exhausted. That's depression.
Wow.
And it looks different for everybody.
Absolutely.
It looks different.
Absolutely.
That's why I love this book, because it is about figuring out what optimal wellness is for you. For everybody, it looks different. But I encourage people to figure out what you look like and feel like at 100%, so that when that percentage starts to drop, you can pause and take inventory of like, oh, what is it? Like, is it something that I'm eating that's causing, is it my environment? Is it the people that I'm talking to? But you have to know what you feel like at 100 to be able to identify when you're not there.
That was another thing I was going to ask. So do you think the foods have something to do
Absolutely.
Are you vegan?
No, I'm not.
You're not vegan. Okay.
But I try to have a clean diet.
A clean diet.
Yeah,
got you.
but I'm not vegan.
And that's very important. What we intake in our bodies is important. So it plays a part in our mental.
Absolutely.
The sugars, the hot chips. And
Listen, sugar is like crack, for real.
It look like it.
It really is. It literally is like crack, but the gut, I mean, it can literally destroy every part of your body, and it's so addictive. And so I try to study myself. I'll pay attention to how I feel when I consume sugar or something that has a lot of sugar in it. Mental clarity is thrown off. I'm sluggish. I'm having a hard time like connecting spiritually with my clients. So now I'm taking inventory of like, oh, what foods are really high vibrational? Like what foods really make me feel clear and grounded and make me feel like my best self?
Not a chicken wing, y'all. Not a chicken wing. Chicken wings do not make you feel high.
It don't do it for me. It might do it for somebody else.
Chicken wings ain't
But
it.
chicken wings do not make me feel good.
That's what it is. That's what, man.
But that's why it's important for us to know ourselves. That's
yeah.
why I like this book, Focus on Yourself. It's not focus on yourself in a way of like being selfish and blocking people out, but it's like, no, really become a student of you. Right? Like figure out, are you living your life on 30% right now? Like how do you really get to a place of wellness? Take inventory of every area of your life. Is your money like causing you to feel anxious and stressed out? Then let's unpack your habits and your relationship with money, because that plays on your mental health.
Absolutely.
Everything does.
Absolutely. Damn. That was deep though. That money right there, because you think about it, they talking about the dollar is devaluing. Like, people about to go crazy if they don't have no money in their pocket. So my thing is like, yo, that's wow. I never even thought about you. Like, I never stopped to think about that part.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how can I be better for myself and someone else. I never thought about like, yo, money can have a play on this. The food you eat can have a play on this. Certain things. And all of that plays a part. That's why people, when they vegan, they really be on some,
and you get to decide, like, because that's the thing about it. Like, when we see people that are just not living their best lives, they don't realize how much power that they actually have. It's just like, well, I don't have no money and I'm in this situation and I'm a victim, but I really want to help people to see that you do have the power to create the life that you want. Does that mean that you're not going to experience ebbs and flows? Absolutely not, because we all are.
Fact.
Life is going to kick all of our butts, but we get to decide how to respond to it. We get to decide how to frame it and how to move through it. So, yeah. It's the whole thing. And when you say doing the work, sometimes people think, well, I cut people off and I set boundaries, but no, I really want you to take inventory of you.
Mm-hmm. That's half the work. That's not even probably the surface. So I gotta retract all my little statements, because in my mind, this is really enlightening to me, because in my mind, taking time out for me was cutting the world off.
Yeah.
And just sitting in like solitude by myself and just like, okay, letting the answers, meditation. I definitely meditate, but it's like, okay, just let it come, and whole time, when you get into situations, you recognize like, wait, it's like like that trigger hits.
Yeah.
And when it hits, you be like, I looked at, God, I thought I was good. I thought we was good already. And the whole time, but it's okay. It's okay. I think that's what I really needed to hear, that it's okay to have an insecurity, because we all have them.
Yeah.
We all have them. And it's okay. Like, that's good.
That's it. It's all okay. And
That's
let me give
good.
you your kudos, because you have done some work, right? Like, I try not to say healed, because we're always healing.
Got you.
So you have done work to get yourself to this point. Like, it is a big deal to sit in silence and be okay with being by yourself and meditating. Okay, so then let's take it a step further. Like, let's really examine you. Are there any pieces inside of you that still feel broken that you need to be honest about and repair? And that sometimes only comes when you're in a relationship.
Yeah. Wow. That's what's up. No, but that's what's up.
Yeah.
Everybody, and having someone to talk to, a therapist, mental therapist, it's okay. I think it's so okay. Like, growing up, they used to say, like you said, keep it in the house. But this is, as long as we have someone like you, who is just like, when I say her vibe is everything, y'all, it's really everything.
Oh, I appreciate it.
When we have that platform, it just makes it so much easier. I mean, we just met.
Yeah.
And I swear she probably know half of my whole life already, y'all. Because that's how easy it was. And it felt safe. It didn't feel like I was being judged or anything like that. Like, you're really good with your facial expressions.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You know, some people, when you tell them so, they're like, oh, no, girl, I didn't say nothing. I just was, I was just thinking. Like, but no, that's what's up. So, real quick, Tiarra, drop all your social media. Let's drop your book again. Let's talk about it. I mean, the title, where we can find it, things like that, real quick.
Absolutely. So the book is available now at focusonyourself.com. You can purchase it, and it will be on Amazon soon. My social media is Tiarra, Tiarra, ABUBAKR, at all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook.
Already. Yeah. Like, I don't think y'all understand how I'm feeling right now. Like, I feel like I got a lot more work to do.
We all do.
Like, just because, like, the person that I am, I'm a person who wants to get to the next level, right? Yeah. And sometimes, I don't know if I'm the only one who feels like this, but I be feeling blockages.
Yeah.
I can feel it. Like, I feel a blockage. I just don't know what blockage it is, if that makes sense. Yeah. I do feel it, though. I just don't know how to unpack it, what it is, or, what it looked like. I feel it, though.
I love that. I love that you said that, because that's the case for so many of us, which a lot of times it's something unresolved, or like when like you mentioned the throat chakra, when your chakra gets blocked, it's because something has happened, or it's because of a certain way that you're living your life. And so that's the great thing about the book. There's so many different resources to help you move through blockages. Like Reiki is a great way to...
What is Reiki?
Reiki, it's a energetic healing. It's a old ancient practice. Actually a certified master Reiki. And so we kind of just tap in spiritually and not spiritually, energetically, and use our hands to move any stuck energy. And we're doing handwork over your chakras, over each one, and processing like what's coming up. And it can be all types of things. Like it could be your heart chakra that's blocked, and a heart chakra blockage comes from being betrayed a lot, or having your heart broken, or not trusting people and not effectively moving through it and healing it. A lot of times we just like, I'm good, I got over that, I'm over that person. But you got to go deep and really figure out, like, no, how did that situation or how did that event like really dig itself into your body? And so I think it's amazing that you can acknowledge that I do have some places where I feel blocked. So Reiki is a great way to help with that.
Feel it. I just feel it. I just know. I'm tapped into myself where I feel it. But okay, that's what it is. Listen, this show was everything I needed.
Yeah.
Like everything they need. Watch when they replay this YouTube. It's about to go crazy because, again, this is what we need.
Yeah.
Like our community need this. So listen, I appreciate everybody calling in, everybody's on the chat, everybody who tapped in. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe this episode on YouTube right after we get off, okay? Because it's going to be up. It's going to be ready. Go rewatch it. Go tell a friend. Share it because they need it. I promise you they do. And make sure you follow me on the gram at the D-Zone Podcast. We follow back. Listen, Tiarra, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Real talk. I definitely do appreciate you. And I appreciate everybody else. Listen, we out of here. Peace, love, and happiness. We out.
Yes.